Hello. Hello, police. Yeah, what's the problem, sir? We just drove down our farm track. Yeah. Go and feed our pheasants. We come across a Range Rover with 3 people in it. Yeah. It appears that they're dead. I don't know what's happening. Blood in the motor all over them.
And welcome back to a new video on the Essex Boys case. As always, if you are enjoying the content, please do give the video a thumbs up. And if you're interested in the Essex Boys case, or simply true crime in general, don't forget to hit the subscribe button below. Now before I start this video, it's important for me to mention that the author does not seek to discredit any previous accounts or versions of events leading up to the gruesome murders. He merely offers an interesting alternative scenario to be considered. Bill left the open file on his desk. It was gone 8 PM on the Sunday and he was tired. It now felt like he was living in the office. The team were also putting in the hours too. Bale and Wright had showed their faces earlier in the day to review the day-old stuff coming through as well, just in case Bill had missed anything. He hadn't, but the team effort was appreciated. Things were moving fast. The pressure out there was driving it. The trouble was they were the watchers playing a long game. The material they were getting was now something which was going to need to be considered carefully. Action needed now was all Bill could see, to avert an escalation of tension and possible chaos. Someone on high might have seen it as well. The government health agency was now drawing attention away from the death being attributable to an ecstasy tablet, and it was definitely death by drinking too much water in a short space of time. The doctors had let it slip a week ago, and the media was now running hard with it. Was someone on high trying to restore a little confidence in an industry which had almost imploded, and was leading to a catastrophic fracturing of an almost stable, criminal underworld? Monday morning, and Bill was sat in D.I. Ellis's office running through what he'd put together over the weekend. At the same time, just after 9 AM, Tate and Tucker, along with Craig Rolfe, were in a builder's cafe on the outskirts of Basildon. Normally, it would have had plenty of local lads from the building site in there. Most would have acknowledged Tucker and the gang, come over and shook a hand and played the game of respect. Born out of fear generally, although some not. More than a few of the manual labourers were capable blokes. 1 or 2 even did the doors as a sideline to top up their incomes. The fourth guest at the table that morning was a young Darren Nichols. He had been collected by Craig Rolfe and wasn't perturbed to being called in on the early Monday morning meet. "He's a cocky little fucker," Tate remarked as he'd seen Nichols jump out of the blue Range Rover Rolfe was driving. It was Tucker's motor. Tate had trashed Tony's Porsche, so the 4x4 had been taken as a replacement mode of transportation. The 4 huddled around large mugs of tea. The regular fare was on the griddle getting cremated for them. Tucker opened up the conversation with general chatter about nothing in particular, then moved to the meat of the meeting. Rolfe would never be asked, but something in his head told him Nichols knew what the meeting was about. "Do you remember you mentioned about a parcel of gear coming in? Charlie by plane?" Tucker slipped it in casually after the plates of health food had arrived and the plump lady in the stained apron had departed. "Yeah, of course I do, Tone." Nichols was cutting a piece of sausage he had pinned neatly with his fork. Rolfe's eyes flicked up at Nichols as the main question, the real reason for the friendly breakfast, was put to him. Nichols ate like some sort of fucking ponce, thought Rolfe, but let the thought slide again, as he used his own fork the correct way, like a spoon to eat. "You said, if I remember right, the gear's coming in this week, didn't you?" Tucker kept the question off-handed. Inside, he was like a snake looking to coil around its victim. "Yeah, that's right, Tone. It's going to be here Friday or Saturday, my cousin reckons. Proper bit of gear, they reckon. You want me to try and get you some?" Nichols was the picture of naivety and innocence as he delicately ate the builder's revenge. "Friday or Saturday? You're sure on that, mate?" The serpent smiled. "Yeah, 100%. Why are you so interested?" Just like to know what's going down in our back garden. You said the plane lands around here, didn't you?" "Yeah, that's right, mate. No fucking idea where, mind you. But yeah, for sure it's on a farm around here somewhere. Must be someone they got on the firm. There's loads of places, ain't there? I mean, it's all flat, no fucking mountains in Essex." Nichols laughed at his own joke. "Yeah, you're right, mate. It could be fucking anywhere. Clever, ain't it? It's just what we need, ain't it, Pat? Then we wouldn't have to rely on that cunt Mickey and his fucking poxy fishing boat. Yeah, mate, yeah, that cunt Mickey, yeah. Tate wasn't following Tony properly and almost missed the question directed at him. Pat was too busy thinking about killing lots of people in a dark, lonely field and relieving them of a large quantity of extremely valuable product. Tate pulled his answer around with reference to Steele, who was now firmly on his growing list. Darren Nichols continued to work through his breakfast methodically, apparently not making too much of the recent line of questioning and completely at ease with his compadres at the table. Do you want me to see if we can use their transport? Nah, fuck that. I wouldn't want to be working with them. Nah, it's all about being independent. You see, Darren, we were relying on that cunt Mickey, and look what happened. We ended up with them fucking shit pills. Nah, mate, I've got the supply sorted in Europe now. I just need a decent bit of transport, and I think the plane thing is the bollocks. I mean, if they get it home, then it means it's possible to fly in here and not get noticed. You just wouldn't think that was possible, would you? Well, I see what you mean, Tony. What are you going to do, buy a plane then? Maybe. Tony wasn't sure where to go next. He could involve Nichols with what they had planned. Maybe an extra gun on a bit of work. Trouble was, Nichols had a cousin in the other firm. It made him a possible liability. Information might go both ways with the cousin. Right now, Nichols had no idea about the vital piece of information Tony had. Tony's friendly Piggy knew exactly where the plane was going to land, and it certainly sounded like Piggy's pals had their dates mixed up. The trouble was, the old Bill were all over their own firm, although losing them itself wasn't too difficult. The downside to that was that if three of them vanished from the police surveillance and in the morning there was a field full of bodies, then the old Bill wouldn't need rocket science to have them in the frame, especially if it was on their own turf. Tony was in a conundrum. The plan was an opportunity, but would it be one he could exploit? He suddenly lost his appetite and wanted to be away from Nichols so he could discuss the options. There was nothing more to be gained here from pushing Nichols about details. It would only highlight their interest in the subject. Even better to drop it completely, as Nichols hadn't given them an exact day. If they had to go back a second night and wait again, no big deal. It wasn't the biggest window to have to watch. All he needed to be sure of was Piggy's mob didn't show up as well. But that was Piggy's end. Better to have Porky in the know than Nichols. Porky couldn't tell anyone. He was selling his own firm out big time, and he wouldn't be putting himself in it. If the fucking weasel was capable of anything, it was self-preservation, and he wasn't stupid. Bill had missed the breakfast exchange. Tony Firmin would brief him before midday on what had transpired in the caff. So no problem at the moment, although developments and possible events were starting to press. D.I. Ellis listened to Bill while Tony Tucker was finishing his breakfast. He agreed generally with the prognosis Bill put forward. Ellis skimmed the written synopsis as Bill spoke. Then it, along with highlighted transcripts, were faxed to the yard. Bill went back to his desk. Tony Firmin got him up to speed with a breakfast meeting which had now finished. Tucker and the crew were going to go for it. He could just sense it in the exchanges between Pat and Tony as they discussed the options later in the car alone. To Pat and Tony, it was the answer to all their problems. It was a God-sent opportunity. They believed it was meant to be, and it wasn't about the if or maybe anymore. It was all about the how. They still had the 2 automatic machine guns from the Dutch job stashed. Bill had worked that one out, but still didn't know where. Would the 3 of them be enough? Should they bring in Nichols as the driver? The pair mentioned another member of their crew who would be a better option. Taking Piggy along was also another option to make sure the fat wanker wasn't spinning them any bollocks. Bill checked the file on the foot soldier mentioned. The man was very capable and basically lived in the gym when he wasn't breaking heads. Tate wanted him in. They would consider it, but first they needed Porky to give them the location. Bill swiftly added the foot soldier to the live sessions and told the team to keep an eye on where he went until further notice. D.I. Ellis finished up a phone call in his office and pulled a chair up next to Bill's desk. Now Bill, you and the team have been on this Essex firm solidly since the girl died. Do you think they're going to try and take this load from the Canning Town firm? Gov, in my honest opinion, they will have a go if they get the chance. And if it ain't this load, it'll be something else equally destructive. They were having it off for a long time and it's killing them. They're under real pressure and looking to break out. They have killed and will more than likely kill again. To be honest, I think they're 10 times more dangerous now than they were before. Then all this happened and they've lost momentum. People are swerving them all over the place and they've got to feel it. The team had moved in closer as the governor looked around. They nodded their agreement of Bill's assessment. Yeah, I agree, and it's exactly how I just answered the same question when it was put to me. Now, Bill, can you be at the yard in the morning, say 9 o'clock? Of course, Gov. Do you want me to meet you there? No, Bill, it appears I'm not needed. Probably want to get it all first hand from you. You're at the front end of this, not me. D.I. Ellis stood and headed back to his own space. Bill wasn't the slightest bit fazed by the request and went back to the work in hand. The afternoon was business as usual for the Essex boys. Business as was possible after the death of Leah Betts. They were just about welcomed most places as usual. The persons visited didn't yet have the courage of their convictions to be open with their feelings. The fear element was keeping the lower ranks in check for now. Bill and the team, however, had a better insight to things than Tony and his more loyal supporters. They picked up the whispers between people after the firm had left. Everyone in the world in which they operated was out for themselves. The slightest weakness and the pack would tear apart a former dominant male. Late in the day that Monday, Tony Tucker had put several calls into Piggy, whose burner phone was turned off. Tony was getting restless. The branch team picked up the call when Piggy finally turned his throwaway phone on and answered the call from Tony Tucker. Hello, Tone. Sorry, I was busy. Yeah, well, I fucking know that. I saw you. You ain't very fucking subtle, are you? You might as well have put the blue lights on. Oh, come on, Tone, please. Look, mate, I need to see you now. Okay, sure. Let me get back to you, all right? Piggy ended the call. Piggy was restrained by work, as he had to find a way to be alone. It was ironic. The man he was meeting was someone he was actually supposed to be watching as part of his day job. Tucker would have to wait for the call. He also knew Porky would have to give him sufficient time to lose the surveillance and get to the location from wherever he might be. So it would most likely be the following day for the meeting. Tony was impatient, but there wasn't much he could do but wait. You have been listening to the book Once Upon a Time in Essex. This book is available to purchase online at Amazon and other online book retailers. Many thanks for joining me for this video. Very shortly you'll be able to see some other videos from the channel, including the Essex Boys playlist, which has all of the videos concerning this case in one convenient folder. If you like this video, please do give it a thumbs up. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. I look forward to seeing you all again in the next video. Take care. Cheers.